Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to Sons of Liberty 1773. If you're just tuning in, my name's Bill Bailey and I'm your host here. So, folks, how prepared are you? I mean, if the crap hits the fan today, an hour from now, how long are you going to survive? What's in the refrigerator? What's in the freezer? How are you going to preserve that food when there's no electricity? Questions, right? Have you learned to can? Do you have a, if not, I suggest you get learning really quick. You can buy meat when it's on sale at the store, right? And canned meat, Renee does that. You could stock up on canned meats. If you don't know how to can yet, I suggest you learn how, though, to pressure can. You know, tuna has a shelf life for years. Canned salmon, canned roast beef. You know, Spam, I'm not a big fan, but a lot of people are. Do you have a first aid kit on hand? If somebody gets hurt and can't get to the hospital because there's no diesel fuel, no gasoline, or there was an electromagnetic pulse event where nothing electronic will run. You know, we don't know the full effects of an EMP weapon, but as sensitive as electronics are, I mean, there's not just one computer in modern automobiles. There's several. You know, there's an electronic fuel pump for fuel, all the modern day fuel injection cars that's inside the gas tank. So what are you going to do when you have no transportation? The grocery stores are looted out of food in the next 24 hours. And what you have is what you have on hand. You need to do a gut check because we're getting close here to, to the last war of humanity, and I believe biblical times are going to play out. I've been watching the world play out. It's really turning evil, right? They just enshrined the murder of unborn babies right up to the day of birth. Guy that wants to get his parts cut off and have them sliced and think he's a woman. They can do that now under this constitutional amendment in Michigan without the parents' consent. They can give your kids puberty blockers without having to tell the parents. I hope that this stuff is taken to court. Prop 2, which passed, is this is a little off subject, but it's 9 days of in-person voting coming up, and I forget, a month of you can vote early with a mail-in ballot, and they've enshrined the mail-in voting boxes and mail-in ballots in 9 days of in-person voting here in Michigan. So I don't know what the game plan is for a Republican candidate in 2024 if we're still here as a country. But I hope they figure out how to get to 270 votes without Michigan, because you're not going to get Michigan. My opinion, okay? So let's get back to the subject at hand. We're in really precarious times. I mean, I think America it's already over the cliff. It's heading for impact. And we are going to go into a financial storm, my opinion. Markets are going to crash. Inflation is going to go through the roof, and probably, my opinion, obviously all this stuff, I think we're not heading to something on the level of the Great Depression, but it will go beyond that, and it will be the greatest depression. But we are living in a reality today where we could wake up in Mad Max world tomorrow, right? Remember the book of Joel? That dystopian world. We're that close to that right now. And even if you don't believe this, natural disasters happen, right? The hurricane in Florida, remember Puerto Rico getting wiped out, no grid for months, tornadoes, earthquakes, So this is a book I'm currently reading. Just started on it. Seems really good. The author really seems to know his stuff. I have some friends that said, well, if there's a nuclear war, I don't want to live. I'm not going to run from the nukes. I'm going to run toward them. Probably not. The cities, you know, and the military targets will be, you know, fried. I mean, evaporated from planet Earth. But most people will live. If you're outside the city limits, I mean, you may die in a few years or months of cancer. But if you're far enough away from the exposure, most of humanity is going to live. But you know, we will be transformed in a nanosecond to living in medieval times, you know, the Dark Ages, and you just better be prepared. It's not a lot of work, folks. It's not even a lot. I mean, depending on how deep you get into it, it's not a huge amount of money. I mean, if you go spend in today's inflationary times, $1,000 isn't much money, right? Not even 2,000. Go stock up on white rice, dry beans, canned goods, then build from that. There's a million prepping videos on YouTube. Start watching them. You know, beginning prepper. If you're in the city, do you have a bob bag, a bug out bag? With, you know, 3 days of supplies in it. So where you can just, if the crap hits the fan, you know, like there's a nuke incoming and you just want to, you have no time. You literally know where that bag is. You throw it in your vehicle if you don't just keep them in there anyways, and you're gone. Boom. Keep your cars topped off with fuel too. Something I never mention enough. Make it Friday fill up, okay? Every Friday, you fill up, but you never let your tank get below a half a tank, folks. Okay? If you're at a half a tank Wednesday, fill it up, top it off again on Friday. Start keeping your tanks filled up. Start collecting books. Renee and I have a this is more history related stuff here. We have a bunch of survival books in the house in one of our bug out stashes. I have a military grade medical kit. You're going to have to be able to protect yourself. You know, the government ain't coming to help if it's a major crap hits the fan event. They didn't show up after the hurricane in Louisiana, right? That hit the coast for weeks. Remember, the people tried to get out of the city and they turned them around in New Orleans and ran them. Put them in the stadium where people were getting, you know, abused in some pretty disgusting ways. And then what they did do there, though, is they went around and collected guns, said, we're here to get the guns. And you can watch these videos. They took everybody's guns that would give them up. The smart people took photographs, got the serial number off their guns and gave them to them. But here's the time when you actually need your guns. Here's the time when the police should have been helping you. Are you guys okay? Do you need anything? You're great. Okay, we're moving on to the next house. That wasn't what they were doing. We're here to get the guns. That's what they were doing, which makes no sense to me, and those people should have sued, because if they're, you know, my argument is, look, guys, we're in bad times right now. You're not going to show up to protect me. I'm going to protect myself. It's my constitutional right. You don't have a warrant for my weapons. And when you come back with one after, you know, we get some law and order restored, come back with a warrant, and then we'll go handle it in court, and I will sue you. And I will get my guns back. And if you damage them, you're going to pay for them. But, you know, that was then, but why would it be any different now? Katrina, right? Hurricane Katrina. And then a few years later, I can never remember the name of the hurricane that hit out east with Chris Christie was running for president, and Barack Obama came there, and was it Barack, and they hugged one another? Or Chris Christie was there. Mitt Romney was running. That's right. And Mitt Romney kind of backed off. And now we know the truth about Mitt Romney. You know, I hate these people. They always fool me. I thought Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan at that time were like the dream team. Wow, conservatives, Paul Ryan, fiscally conservative. Wow, we're so lucky to have these two running. And it ends up, you know, they've been exposed, right? They're totally been demasked, and they're swamp monsters. So anyways, folks, be getting prepared. Ask yourself, I mean, literally, take 5 minutes and go look through your home and say, you know what? If the crap hits the fan and there's no food at the store or water, we got 3 days here. That's it. That's not smart, in my opinion. You should strive for, I mean, I really think the minimum is a year now. A year of food and supplies. Toilet paper, right? Toothpaste, soaps. You know, if you go to Dollar General, load up on that stuff. Renee's got all these stackable containers, because you gotta get creative with storage, because our house that we live in now isn't that huge. But she'll take all the soaps out of the boxes or the containers and stack them in one of these little plastic containers that are stackable, and she's got a marker on the front of it that says soaps. Another one says dentals, toothpaste, and all that, you know. You take all the toothpaste out of the tubes, you'd be surprised how many of them will fit in a small container. Razors, everything you need, you know. Sit down and say, what do we need for a month to live? You know, food, and not just food, but other stuff. Toilet paper, paper towels if you want them, that type of stuff. And then times it by 12. And that's what you got to go out and figure out how to get it before things go dark in this world, which is where they're heading. I think our government is turned completely evil. I think it's the rot and the infestation started in the early 60s. And they, you know, when they made a plan, the communists, to take over our once renowned education systems and turn them into indoctrination sites. I think that's why they got rid of all the shop classes in high school, because they didn't want Americans to be able to build stuff with their hands, for one reason. But the main reason was they wanted to shove us into the factories. So we come out as as we go in as God-loving Americans who love this country in the rule of law, in morality, and when they shoot us out the other end, we're evil. We hate America. God doesn't exist. I mean, look what they're doing to these kids. And now they've been doing this for generations, and it's unfortunately bearing fruit. These morons are out voting. They don't even know the truth. They don't know the real nobility of this country. And all they hear is, America's founding fathers were rich white slave owners, They don't talk about the trials they went through. They don't talk about, and by the way, that's not true in the sense they're taught it. I mean, Jefferson, his first draft of the Declaration would have ended slavery. There was a couple of holdout states that fought him, but he was an abolitionist all his life. Look at John Quincy Adams. Look at George Washington. I mean, I've shared a letter from him. I mean, he hated it. He said that England, because remember, our founders were born into a country of tyranny that already had slavery when they were born. And it took time for them to break free from England, and Washington was having a conversation with somebody about it, and he goes, after we'd won the Revolutionary War, and he said, look, England gave us their government and their economy, which was slaves. He goes, we got rid of one, we're going to get rid of the other. And they all got it, and it just took time to get rid of that sin. But they don't talk about that 25% of 1/4 of the Revolutionary Army was free blacks fighting for America's freedom. They don't talk about people like Billy Lee, a friend of George Washington's. So many others, too. They don't want you to know the good history of how black and white, this country, we fought together to free ourselves from bondage. And thankfully, the founders gave us a system where we could eventually get rid of the sin of slavery. And it cost hundreds of thousands of souls for America to pay for that sin. So that's it, folks. I want you to get prepared. You've got to be ready, okay? You have to do it. You will have peace of mind. Inflation is driving everything up. It's going to get more and more expensive. So whatever you buy today is going to cost more tomorrow, and so on. So it's economically smart, but make sure you have water filtration, right? And a way to heat if you live in a winter climate, a secondary heat system. We burn wood here, so it's not a big deal for us. We have 40 acres, and I got wood for several generations to keep our place heated. But I think you better be figuring it out and figuring it out quick. And I want you to, because you will be one less person that I have to fight away when the zombie apocalypse starts. So give me your thoughts, but that's mainly my concern right now, is people are not prepared. Not nearly enough. I mean, it's not even 10% of America are preppers. And of the percentage that are preppers, it's even less than probably a quarter of them that are really serious preppers. But if everybody gets together, 6 months of food and supplies to an absolute minimum, really a year is the minimum now, and I think you might work for 2 or 3 years. You're gonna be in a whole lot better position when the crap hits the fan. That was my thoughts for this video. As always, please comment down below, give these videos a thumbs up, and share them on your social media. And then I will say, I always have my My Patriot Supply affiliate link in the description below. Another company that's just started up, a friend of mine, Dan Short, Phantom Works. You watched his show on Motor Trend TV. He is now starting Phantom Works Off-Road. And he also is a big prepper and is starting a prepper store with freeze-dried food and all the survival stuff that we need to survive the apocalypse. And so check out easyhomesteading.com. Just letter E, letter Z, homesteading. easyhomesteading.com. And then my affiliate link, if you want to get a good night's sleep at mypillow.com, is SOL1773. Is the promo code at MyPillow. So that's it, folks. Make a plan and work your plan. Better to have and not need than need and not have, right? Plan for the worst, pray for the best. But we are heading into uncharted territory. And we're not leaving the storm, we're entering it. And it's going to be, I think, hell on earth, all right? And I will feel a lot better if you took my advice and got prepared. See ya.